as the manufacturers and distributors continue to invest in our e-commerce or e-business areas to provide an omni-channel experience to you, what of either the manufacturers or the distributors website e-commerce offerings are of value, or what are some things that we should continue to invest in to really help all of you be more successful as well? So kind of the e-commerce, e-business piece. Luke, you want to, what services are valuable, what are not?
It depends on what it is that we're trying to do. I think that the e-commerce, there's value in it, like service, for example. Our service trucks will use that application in order to order things, but on a $4 million, $5 million project, like the app just becomes kind of somewhat cumbersome at a certain point, and it's just easier to just say, hey, look, this is what I want, because you're talking about just these giant bulk amounts. So I think maybe that's one thing that's important to recognize, is that, yeah, it's a good solution in some areas, and in other areas, like it doesn't make sense yet.
Okay. Gary?
Yeah, I kind of agree with as far as e-commerce, ordering things from a catalog or such. I'm not so sure we're ready for that yet. Not saying we're not going to get there. But a lot of the vendors we do business with offer, electronic invoicing, which of course we take advantage of. We bring it right into our ERP system. So for job cost purposes, it's real time. Your payroll comes in daily. Your invoicing does as well. Electronic packing slips, right, to prove the material's been received properly. So things like that, those type of technologies, I mean, we love. Because we're paying a lot of people in the office, you're paying people, and if it's mutually rewarding and we're able to create more margin on both sides, and it's a win-win. So that's what I see.
Very good. Jeff, on your end?
Yeah, sure. When you ask about going on to, say, a distributor's website, or as Luke alluded to, using a distributor app, to order material, and I was listening to George Blankenship that was just up here and said that, you're looking for that technology to save time, you're looking for convenience, and you're looking for an experience. And right now, I don't think that either of those things save time. We have a supplier link that's directed, that ties directly to our AccuBid estimating software. So when I need pricing, I don't need to go on to a distributor's website. It automatically uploads right to where, to where we're doing our estimate. From the field side of things, in terms of getting on an app and doing ordering, again, at $1.50 a minute, I don't necessarily need him doing that. I can do an old, pen and paper and email it to I can even just take a picture and send it right to the office. So I don't think it really saves time in either one of those accounts. In terms of convenience, again, my foremen don't want to go onto an app and slowly go through every single item in terms of ordering. And I've had some people come in to me and say that, well, our app is intuitive. So when you start ordering things, it knows what you're ordering over the course of time, and those items will, present themselves first, so you can find them quickly. But we think that we've already kind of solved that problem for the things that you repeat over and over and over again by using VMI. So there's almost some parallels between VMI and the app, and so we're not really pushing that right now. And then from an experience standpoint, well, we haven't really had an experience with it because the first two items I don't think really are applicable for what we're doing right now.
John, your end on the?
Yeah, we use the app to a point. To your point earlier, Jeff, we use AccuBid and SupplyLink also. I think that in and of itself takes care of 90% of what we do. It's a great program, gives us real pricing for us. So that works well. But we do use the app, and a couple distributors, Crescent Electric's app we use quite a bit. It allows us to search all throughout the country at all their stores. It'll take us to the local first and then branching out from there. So there's times we need a piece, whether it may be some explosion-proof fitting or a Kellum or something that we need now. It's not a price-sensitive item, so if we can get it, that's the most important thing. So to that, the apps, I really enjoy them. I like them a lot for that. But for day-to-day, nothing replaces a purchasing agent in the end. A person you can email to, communicate back and forth, and coordinate. Yeah, so that's kind of our use on those, pretty much. But we do use them. And there's another distributor out there, and they have the same type of app as Crescent, but it doesn't allow you to search out of your region or district. It doesn't let you check all the facilities around the country. And to me, that's it's really not worth anything to us. So they lose that business. If it's not local, we can't shop to other stores.
Okay. How about last thought on, or question on the technology piece is Amazon or other other channels, maybe other than electrical distribution. Has that changed the way you source material or gain, technical information?
It hasn't affected us much. I've certainly seen an Amazon box or two at the project site, but I would generally say that there's like a stock out situation, or it's just a bizarre thing. And as far as information goes, I mean, I don't know if anybody's been on like Amazon for Business, but it's pretty scarce to get like legitimate information on there. And so much of what we do is so technical. I don't think it's going to fit in a thumbnail description. So there's certainly a ways to go, I think, before something like that becomes a viable option for us.
Okay, Gary.
I haven't really had much impact with Amazon. I mean, they've tried signing us up to be an Amazon provider, whatever that means.
Right.
But I hope that they don't put, as they have put many brick and mortars out of business. I hope they don't do that with distribution, because you lose that personal touch and being able to pick the phone up and talk through a problem with someone. I don't know how that would all work in the Amazon world where no one ever speaks to each other. So not a big fan, and haven't been impacted by it.
Yeah. Jeff, on your end?
Yeah, same. It hasn't even been really a blip on our radar. I mean, we order Amazon because things come right to our door rather than having to go out to a store. And we have the product right now from our distributors already going right to the door. So that wasn't really a big culture shift. And we can't, in a lot of our jobs, we can't receive UPS, FedEx, or U.S. Postal Service deliveries, which is the main way they ship stuff, obviously. So that becomes a whole nother issue for for someone like Amazon to overcome, to break into that market. And on top of that, there are, like I think it was Luke or Gary just said, that the technical nature of stuff. When we're doing fixture submittal pack, and there's 30 different letters and numbers, and you're trying to make sure that you've picked up every single one, and then I'm calling somebody asking, did you pick up Chicago plenum? And somebody goes, I don't know what Chicago plenum is, because it's only specific to Chicago. So, yeah, I like Gary said, I think you start to lose that personal touch when we get an RFI. How do I send an RFI to Amazon to make sure that they've picked up that change or that whatever? And so, even when you want to do, say, partial releases and things like that, I mean, there's just so many things that the distributors offer us that, as far as I can tell, Amazon hasn't even really scratched the surface of.
Okay.
And they shouldn't be able to offer it. Prefabricated services. Hey, I'll uncrate your fixtures for you at my warehouse, throw the garbage away, put the whips on them. You're not going to get that with Amazon.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, and I think what you keep pointing out, Jeff, is that it's all about being ad hoc, and what we do is incredibly deliberate, right? Like you were just saying about the fixtures, right? That whole thing's just designed about you buying it and it showing up as fast as possible. I want it to show up correct, and then we can talk about how fast it gets there.
John, anything on that?
We use Amazon very limited also. It's just not a good fit, I don't think, for any of us in our business models. It just doesn't make sense. But what we do use it for is when we call our distributors up, we're looking for a part that may no longer be a stock item for them, and we can research it. And whether it's Amazon or another online carrier, we can usually find it, whether it's an obsolete part. It may be a breaker that no one has in stock, but somehow Amazon, through their sources, has it. We need this breaker tomorrow. We don't care what it costs. And so for that, Amazon certainly fills a niche, but to replace our local distributors, and no, that's not going to happen that I can see in the future.
Okay. Let me throw out a question that we did not review when we were preparing, and one of our distributor friends caught me last night over a glass of wine and wanted to, and I think many of us do, get a feel of with the technology piece. And Gary, you mentioned that there's still a personal touch. So how does the role of, say, a distributor inside salesperson, outside salesperson, how do you see them creating value for you and going forward? Luke? And I know you guys didn't prepare, so I'm catching you off guard.
I think unless that outside salesperson is truly like a technical expert, I don't need another person bringing bagels to the office. I do need someone that actually knows what it is that they're selling. And so I think even beyond our industry, you're starting to see, technical sales. And those type of people are a huge value because you can start with them as far as like, hey, what do you think of this? Like especially like design build, and then they're still there with you even as the project is moving along. They're not giving me a commodity. And I think that's probably like one of the most irritating things about our industry is I'll go and look something up that I want, but I have to go talk to a middleman and tell them about it and what it is and tell them, yes, that number exists and this is a real product. So yeah, the knowledgeable sales staff is critical.
Okay. Gary, your thoughts, or Gary on that?
Yeah, I think the value for an outside salesperson is someone who maybe goes through the whole bid process with you and helps you come up with, brings ideas to the table. Maybe you should offer this to your client. They're not asking for it. Maybe they're seeing something on the bid decks that we're not, like, well, they've got 700 light fixtures in this area, but if we change the model number, I think we could do it with 520. And why don't you go in with things like that, where we can go in with a little VE item. I know none of us like to hear that because every job, hey, what can you do for VE on this job? It's over budget. We hear that every 20 minutes, right? Yeah. But things like that, where it could become more of a partnering type situation, and we're going to work together and try to figure out how do we skin this cat to make our team look the best here and hopefully win the project.
Yeah. So it speaks to the partnership, the consultative kind of approach. Jeff, same thing on your end?
Yeah, a lot of the same. The role of the outside salesman has really changed. I think they used to have to stop by our office because they had to physically grab something. They had to physically grab drawings, or they had to physically grab a fixture schedule to see what's going on. Now everything is done, via email. So I think that we find that it's advantageous when we're chasing specific work or high-profile work or something that we really want, that the outside salesman is bringing with them the manufacturer, and they're trying to offer partnerships. And so, for example, if I might have one distributor come in and they will be sitting there with Siemens on a gear package, and somebody else is coming in with Square D, and they're kind of running more as a team, and that outside salesman trying to navigate through some of that is usually a big help. But the people that we talk to and interface with on a day-to-day basis are the most important. So whether or not a distributor has a project manager running a lighting a project, or if it's on the dailies, it's something that you didn't ask this question, but that I find a lot of feedback is drivers. So I have a lot of feedback from our foremen saying, hey, don't use this person because their driver doesn't speak English and I cannot communicate with them on the phone. And so to them, when I start getting feedback like that, and when it comes over and over and over again, we pay attention to it. And those are the people that interface with our guys on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, super. John, any thoughts on your end?
The outside salesman, I think, still plays a very important role, but I think Luke brought it up to start, is that the technical people are who we need. So when we're bidding a project, again, to bring those technical people in so that they understand. So the outside salesman isn't trying to understand what we need. He may not know the lighting. He may not know exactly the product that we're talking about well enough to speak intelligently and to know what questions to ask to make sure we get the right thing. So yeah, I think there's certainly a place for them. The same thing, I don't need more bagels at our office either. People come and go all day in there. But yeah, the technical people, those are the people we need to see. And we've actually had an instance where Juno Lighting came in. We actually helped on the redesign of the 2-inch LED can. Their engineers came in 3 different occasions, sat down with us in our office, and we helped with the new design of that. So that was great. And that's what we need. That was really beneficial.